Good morning to one and all. So, as you are aware, we have enough time to cover the remaining syllabus of physiology. We have been taking more of theory lectures even online. So, regarding the practical aspect, most of our practicals are based on skills, wherein we will be demonstrating and we will be observing how we are doing. There's one area where we can teach even through the online mode, that is the solving the calculation problems. So that's what we are going to see, the problems related to the cardiovascular system. In cardiovascular system, you know, the cardiac cycle you might have learned, which has got two main phases, systole and diastole. During systole or systole, it will pump certain amount of blood, especially from the left ventricle into the arch of aorta. The volume of blood which is ejected during each of the systole we call it as the stroke volume. The normal heart rate averages around 75 beats per minute. So the number of beats per minute into stroke volume gives the cardiac output. So today we are going to see certain calculations which are aimed at calculating the cardiac output. And what is cardiac output? It is the volume of blood which is ejected by either ventricle per minute. For normal adult, it's about 5 to 5.5 liters per minute, which is nothing but the stroke volume multiplied by the heart rate. The cardiac output can be clinically measured by various methods. So in lower animals, it is done by electromagnetic flow meters, wherein we can do catheters inside the animal as a surgical procedure, which is not possible in human beings. So normally, in very rare cases, we do electromagnetic flow monitors. We do by other indirect methods. The methods, most of the methods, they are based on a principle called Fick's principle. So the methods are either we can calculate the cardiac output based on oxygen consumption per minute, or we can either use the thermodilution method, wherein a cold saline is injected and later on how much of the temperature has decreased in the body. Based on that, we can calculate, or we can use certain indicators or dye. Normally the cardiogreen is used. So based on the flow, we can also call the dye dilution method also. Again, all these three methods are based on the Fick's principle only. Or else we can also use echocardiography or ballistocardiography. These are the other advanced methods by which also we can calculate the cardiac output. Especially echocardiography, they measure the cardiac output based on the velocity of blood flow from left ventricle to the arch of aorta, as well as the diameter of the arch of aorta. They try to calculate the stroke volume and multiply by heart rate, will get the cardiac output. Let us see some of the problems. So this is one area where you can learn very easily. The mathematical problems are based on simple logics, as well as the mathematics are of the third or fifth class standard. So it's very easy for you to calculate and score good marks in the practicals. So let us see problems one by one, and you try to solve. I'll give some time, and I will also show the solutions for those problems also. So problem number one, calculate the cardiac output using the following data. Oxygen consumption is equal to 250 ml per minute. Arterial oxygen content is equal to 190 ml per liter. And venous oxygen content is equal to 140 ml per liter. Now the oxygen consumption, how it is calculated. So here the individual is asked to breathe in and breathe out into a air bag containing a known volume of air with a known composition. So for 1 minute, So within this 1 minute, we know the air mixture and the total quantity. So from the mixture before the start of breathing and after 1 minute, we can easily calculate the amount of oxygen consumed within that 1 minute. So that is how it is being calculated. And arterial blood oxygen, which we can take any superficial artery from where we can bleed, and we can take the blood sample, and with blood gas analyzers, we can calculate the oxygen content of arterial blood. The mixed venous blood oxygen, we can take the blood from the right atrium or from the pulmonary artery. We can draw the blood and you can analyze through blood gas analyzers using there are many methods. The oldest method was the Van Silke apparatus. By using those instruments, we can calculate the content of oxygen in the arterial blood as well as venous blood. So using this data, we need to calculate the cardiac output. So the meaning here is the arterial blood is having about 190 ml of oxygen per liter of blood. But whereas venous blood, which is having only 140 ml per liter of blood. So now venous blood is going through the lungs, where it is getting oxygenated and it leaves as an arterial blood to the entire systemic circulation. So now already we have calculated oxygen consumption per minute is equal to 250 ml. So 250 ml is being exchanged between the atmospheric air and the venous blood before it leaves as arterial blood. So in order to take 250 ml of oxygen across the alveolar membrane, how much blood is that is what we are going to calculate as the cardiac output. How much blood is required to take this 250 ml when the difference is 140 ml per liter in venous blood, in the arterial blood about 190 ml per liter. So the formula to calculate cardiac output is equal to oxygen consumption per minute divided by atriovenous oxygen difference. That is the formula. You put the oxygen consumption as a numerator, as a denominator, put the atriovenous oxygen difference. Well, take a minute and try to calculate on your own. Hope you all calculated. Now we see the solution to the next slide. Yes. As I said, the formula is oxygen consumption divided by atriovenous oxygen difference. So in this case, the oxygen consumption is equal to 250 ml per minute, and atriovenous oxygen difference is 190 ml in the arterial blood and 140 ml in the venous blood. That is about per liter of blood. So this 1000 which is there as the denominator, that will go upward the next step. So 250 ml divided by 190 minus 140 becomes 50 ml, and the whole thing is multiplied by 1000 ml. So 250 upon 50 becomes 5. So it becomes 5 into 1000 ml. It is equal to 5000 ml per minute. That is an average value. So a normal average adult, the cardiac output varies between 5 to 5.5 liters per minute, or in other words, 5000 to 5500 ml per minute. This is a very easy thing whereby we can calculate the cardiac output. This formula is based on the Fick's principle. So the whole oxygen consumption is 250 ml, and this 250 ml is being distributed or taken by the whole of cardiac output when it passes through the pulmonary circulation. So here the volume of distribution, that is nothing but the cardiac output. So when the atriovenous oxygen difference is about 50 ml per liter, so to take 250 ml of oxygen, so your blood should be at least 5 liters, then only the atriovenous oxygen difference will be 50 ml per liter. I hope you understood. So again, the same formula is applied. We'll see few more problems which are the same nature. So the next question is, calculate the stroke volume and cardiac output from the given data. Oxygen content of mixed venous blood is equal to 15 ml per 100 ml of blood. And oxygen content of systemic arterial blood is equal to 20 ml per 100 ml of blood. Heart rate is equal to 70 per minute. So now it is given how this blood is being drawn. For mixed venous blood, blood is drawn from either from right ventricle or from the pulmonary artery by introducing catheter, from which we can draw the sample. Systemic blood or arterial blood can be drawn from any superficial artery. Now the oxygen consumption in this case also per minute is equal to 250 ml. So again, using the same formula, okay. Hope you might have calculated by now. So for the previous data, we need to calculate stroke volume and cardiac output. So here also the formula is cardiac output is equal to oxygen consumption divided by atrial venous oxygen difference. So in this case again 250 ml per minute divided by 20 ml per 100 ml in the arterial blood and 15 ml per 100 ml in venous blood. So difference becomes 5 ml per 100 ml. So this 100 ml will go upward. So it is again, so 250 divided by 5 becomes 50 and into 100. So the value comes 5000 ml per minute. So that's how we have calculated the cardiac output. So you know, cardiac output is equal to stroke volume into heart rate. Now we know the cardiac output as well as we know the heart rate. Now we need to calculate the stroke volume. So stroke volume is equal to cardiac output divided by heart rate. So in this case about 5000 ml per minute and heart rate being 70 per minute. So the stroke volume comes to be around 71.42 ml. So if you know cardiac output and if you know the heart rate, we can calculate the stroke volume. Or if you know cardiac output and stroke volume, we can calculate the heart rate. So let us see the next problem. So calculate the cardiac output and ejection fraction from the following data. N diastolic volume is equal to 140 ml and N systolic volume is equal to 70 ml. Heart rate is equal to 75 beats per minute. Now, from this data, we need to calculate both cardiac output as well as ejection fraction. So first, let us calculate the stroke volume. What to understand by stroke volume? So during the diastolic phase of cardiac cycle, the ventricles will get filled with blood. The ventricles will get filled with maximum blood. So before the onset of systole, at the end of diastole, the ventricles will get filled with maximum blood. That volume we call as the N diastolic volume. So you know, which is going to act as the preload for the heart. Preload is nothing but the load which is acting on the heart prior to its contraction. That's nothing but the N diastolic volume and resultant fiber length. So in this case, the N diastolic volume is equal to 140 ml. That is the volume which is there in the ventricles prior to contraction at the end of diastole. So during systole, a fraction of it will be ejected or pumped into the arch of aorta, and the remaining volume remains in the ventricle itself. So that means not all the blood which is there in ventricles will be pumped into the arch of aorta. So the volume which is being ejected, we call it the stroke volume, which is nothing but N diastolic volume minus N systolic volume. So stroke volume is equal to N diastolic volume minus N systolic volume. So in this case, N diastolic volume being 140 ml and N systolic 70 ml. 140 minus 70 is equal to 70 ml. That means of the total 140 ml which is there at the end of filling phase of ventricles, only 70 ml is being ejected. The 70 ml remains even at the end of systole. That's the meaning of it. So this volume which is being ejected during each beat of the heart, we call as the stroke volume. Now we got the stroke volume. We have the heart rate as 75 beats per minute. Once we know these two, heart rate, the cardiac output will be stroke volume into heart rate. That you can easily calculate 70 into 75. Yes. The next comes the ejection fraction. What do you understand by ejection fraction? As you know, at the end of ventricular diastole, the volume is about 140 ml. Of the 140 ml, only 70 ml is being ejected. The rest of 70 ml remains in the ventricles itself. That means of the total volume, only a portion or a fraction is being ejected. That fraction we call as the ejection fraction. How will you quantify? So of the 140 ml, 70 ml is being ejected. That means per 100 ml, how much will be ejected? That's how it's being calculated, ejection fraction. It is always expressed as percentage. So for 140 ml of end-diastolic volume, the ejection fraction becomes 70 by 140 becomes into 100 becomes, say in this case, about 50%. Only 50% is being ejected. The rest 50 remain within the ventricles even at the end of systole. That's the meaning of it. So let's see the solution for this. As you are aware, cardiac output is equal to stroke volume into heart rate. The stroke volume in this case is N diastolic minus N systolic volume, which is nothing but 140 minus 70 ml. So stroke volume is equal to 70 ml. So cardiac output will be 70 ml into 75 beats per minute. So put together, it becomes 5,250 ml, or in other words, 5.25 liters per minute. Now, calculation of ejection fraction, as I said, is nothing but stroke volume divided by N diastolic volume into 100. That means of the 140 ml, 70 ml is being ejected, means per 100 ml, how much will be ejected? That is the fraction we are going to calculate. So in this case, 70 by 140 into 100, it becomes 50%. So normally during echocardiography, before any surgery or any cardiac evaluation, echocardiography is done. So where one of the main parameter which will be studied is the ejection fraction. It's one of the parameters to decide about the cardiac efficiency. How much of the total end-diastolic volume, how much is being ejected. So that tells you about the functional nature of the heart, or you can say it's one of the parameters by which we can assess the cardiac function before any major surgery or any procedure. So normally it is done as a precaution. So now we know how to calculate cardiac output as well as ejection fraction. Let us see one more problem again, which is to calculate the cardiac output. Now, calculate the cardiac output and cardiac index from the following data. The rate of oxygen consumption is equal to 250 ml per minute, and arterial oxygen content is equal to 119 ml per 100 ml of blood, and venous blood O2 content is equal to 14 ml per 100 ml of blood, and the body surface area is equal to 1.7 square meters. So you know the oxygen consumption per minute can be recorded easily by breathing into a closed air bag, which is having known volume, known composition of air, as I said. So the oxygen consumption is a measure of BMR, or basal metabolic rate. As the body's activity increases, the oxygen content or oxygen consumption also increases. One of the important measure of BMR. As you know, arterial blood can be drawn from any superficial artery, and mixed venous blood can be drawn from usually from right atrium or from pulmonary artery. And once it is sent to the blood gas analyzer, we'll get the values. So from these values, we need to calculate the cardiac output as well as the cardiac index. Now, cardiac output is a numerical value. So by looking at cardiac output, sometimes we may not be able to make a clinically significant interpretation. Say for example, there may be a person whose body weight may be at around 120 kilogram. There may be another person hardly 40 kilogram. So in both individuals, suppose the cardiac output is about a particular value without looking. Suppose we don't know about the body surface area or the body mass index, we don't know. Simply by looking at, we don't know whether the oxygenation or blood supply is adequate or not, whether cardiac output value per se is correct to the particular individual or not. We may not be able to judge simply by looking at the absolute values of cardiac output until unless we know about the BMI or body surface area, etc. So calculation of the cardiac index, that is the cardiac output per meter square of body surface area, that gives a more useful clinical value than a simple cardiac output. So that's why in more cases, in order to assess the cardiac efficiency, not only cardiac output, we also calculate the cardiac index. So hope you can calculate these two. So I'll give a minute, you try to calculate and move on. So this is a solution. Cardiac output is equal to, as usual, oxygen consumption divided by arteriovenous oxygen difference. So in this case also 2 ml per minute divided by 19 minus 14 ml per 100 ml. So which is 250 ml per minute divided by 5 ml into 100. So the value comes to be 5000 ml per minute. This is it, more or less a normal cardiac output for a healthy adult. So the data we have seen, the body surface area is equal to 1.7 meters square. So if you want to calculate cardiac index, it is cardiac output per meter square of body surface area. So it is 5000 ml per minute divided by 1.7 meters square. In this case, the data is given. So it comes to be 2.94 liter per minute per meter square. In other words, 2941 ml per minute per meter square. So the unit is very important. It is always indicated as liter per minute per meter square, which is a more clinically useful index than cardiac output per se. Suppose you remember amongst your classmates, roll number 24, he may be around 120 kg or so. Suppose for him even 6 liters of cardiac output may be subnormal compared to a person who is hardly some 35 or 40 kg. So for him, even a 4 liter of cardiac output may be normal. So simply by looking at the cardiac output, we cannot say cardiac output is normal or not. So if you calculate cardiac index incorporating the value of body surface area, so that will yield more clinically useful results, that is the cardiac index. So I hope you have understood all these problems. So these are only hardly few problems which are mainly based on the Fick's principle, wherein when you consume about 2 ml of oxygen per minute or so, so to take away this 2 ml, how much of cardiac output is needed? when you know the atrium venous oxygen. So based on this, that is the fixed principle, we are going to calculate the cardiac output. This one of the method is an indirect method. There are other methods instead of oxygen consumption. Either you can also use the carbon dioxide evolved per minute or expired out, that you can also use, or you can use the thermodilution wherein we can use the cold saline, or we can use some of the indicators or indicator dilution method or dye dilution method. And other methods, as I said, being electromagnetic flow meter or ballistocardiography or echocardiography are the other methods by which also cardiac output can be measured. So normally these problems will be given in the examination. If you know the formula, to apply these values, you can easily get the values and you get, if you answer some of the relevant theory questions like what is stroke volume, what is cardiac output, what is the normal heart rate, and etc., and they will be giving marks easily. So I hope that problems are very easy. It is much more easier than your level. So I hope all of you understood and you can perform better in the exam. So we'll try to see some more problems which are related to the kidney functions in the next class. Thank you. అయిపోయింది మాకు కోర్స్. Only after all some simple problems. Cardiac volume say cardiac output, cardiac index.